Hello to my friends on YouTube. Welcome to another live broadcast. If you've not watched these before, you know that it takes the TikTok crowd a couple moments to show up. That's okay. That gives me a chance to hit up some likes to attract more people into the room. But yeah, that's what I appreciate people waiting on. That's why there is that little brief intermission in the beginning. Hello, Ralu. Hello, Ama. Ama. Hello, Douglas. Welcome. Glad you're all here today. Hello, Josh. Allow me to introduce myself if you haven't been here before. All I ask is that you tap up some likes on the screen. If you don't mind, that helps us get some more people into the room. Just tap on the screen early on in these lives. It's important to get people liking it because that will bring more people in. Anyway, my name is Josh. It is nice to meet you all. I'm glad that you're all here today. I was a pornography addict for 24 years. That's right, I was a pornography addict for 24 years. I was also an alcoholic for 22 years. I have been clean and sober now for almost 11 years, and I have been relapse free the entire time. About 8 years ago, I got into this field of work, and today I am a full-time pornography addiction coach. I am a full-time betrayal trauma coach, and I'm a therapeutic disclosure specialist as well. Hey, Kelsey, haven't seen you in a while. Hope you had a good Christmas. And I am here today to answer any questions that you may have about porn addiction in general, about trauma or betrayal trauma. I'm also a therapeutic disclosure specialist. That means that I help clients in the area of communication, really focusing on trust. Today's my 30th. You are 30? Wow, you look like you are 24, 25. And I don't say that just to kiss your ass, because if you looked 40, I'd tell you looked 40. But happy birthday, Kelsey. Happy birthday. And thank you for hanging out here over the last couple of years. It's been really nice to get to know you and really nice to see your growth, especially that part where you got away from the ex. That was a nice day when you came on here and told us about it. And I'm still proud of you for doing that. Hey, playa, Mr. Smoothie Buns. I hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Hope that you are have some cool plans for the weekend. Hey, I'll take it. I'm glad I got away. We're all glad you got away. We're all glad you got away. Have you begun dating again yet, or are you holding off on that for a while? Always interested in people who were betrayed, especially women, how long it takes to get back on the dating train after that. Anyway, yeah, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be on this wonderful planet of ours. I wish I could. I just feel really guarded. I think healing is important, says Kelsey. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why I was curious if you felt you were at that place yet where you could move on. There are very few situations in my coaching where I will tell somebody, you should stay with that guy or you should leave that guy, or you should stay with that woman or you should leave that woman. Your situation was so obvious, I couldn't help but say leave him. And I don't think anybody else ever thought that you should stay with him either. So this is one of those that has a happy ending or has a happy middle, because you still have another 50, 60 years to go, my friend. Anyway, allow me to quickly reintroduce myself again as we're starting to fill up in here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Josh. I was a porn addict for 24 years. I was an alcoholic for 22 years. I've been clean and sober now for 11 years, and I've written 4 books about porn addiction and betrayal trauma. I've given hundreds of interviews, did a TED Talk. But about 5 years ago, at the beginning of the pandemic, I switched gears to become a full-time pornography addiction coach, full-time betrayal trauma coach, and a therapeutic disclosure specialist. What that basically means is that I can help the addict, I can help the partner, and I can help the relationship as a whole. Zamato6, how you doing, my friend? What do you think about being friends with a girl I had a thing with but ended because she liked someone? I think it's a matter of can you settle on being friends? Will being friends bring something extra to your life, or will being friends cause you to have bad feelings, cause you to have FOMO, cause you to have, if you still like her, like you say right below, if you still like her, I would say that maybe it's best to take some time away from hanging out with her. You can still, theoretically be friends, but why don't you let that, because she's not interested in you. She's not interested in you. Now, you can either sit around and wait for her to end the relationship with the other guy or liking someone else. Now, they may die together as a couple, so you'll be waiting forever. Or you can give it time away from her, allow that little feeling because it's not love, it's really just infatuation. You can let that pass. You can wait till you get that with another female. I'd be curious what other people have to say. I say stay away from her for a while until these feelings subside, because you're just going to be hurting yourself. But I would like to hear what other people have to say. Tap on your screen, people. Yes, thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Kelsey. And if you say something stupid, Kelsey's going to get you right out of here, because she's one of my good mods. Please tap on the screen. That helps in the algorithm, the FYP page, the suggested live page. If you're watching this on your FYP page and haven't clicked through, please do. Love to meet you. Love to say hello. Making sure I don't miss anybody. Hey, there's Sandra. Now the likes are going to come flying in. You're right. It's just that she's in my college class group, so it's hard. Okay, well, you know what? You have to just get beyond it. And I hate to say that, but figure out what were the attributes that you like about her, and then go seek those in somebody else. Or take some time off and work on yourself. I know that when somebody you're interested in picks somebody else, it feels like rejection, because in a sense it is. But if she is not interested in you, you can't force anything. You just can't force anything. Hello, Poppy. Nice to see you back here. Hope you've had a good few days. Don't think we've seen you before since the New Year, so I hope you had a good New Year. You haven't watched porn since you saw the live. Excellent. Excellent, Poppy. Very proud of you. I'm glad you found some inspiration there. That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm glad that, this is something that maybe you can use as the beginning tool for you to truly recover. Thank you very much for the roses, Ahmed. I thank you very, very much for them. And I thank you all for tapping up the likes. If I say anything great, I hope you share this. If you are not following me, I hope you will. And if you find that you would be interested in scheduling a one-on-one session with me, visit the front page of my profile, and up at the top in the links, click on the one that says Calendly, and you can learn all about having a session with me, which would be wonderful. I love meeting new people, and I love helping new people a lot. Sorry if I take a little bit to say something. I'm at work doing stuff in between. That's cool. I understand we all have jobs. Technically, you're all showing up at my job right now. You're right, man. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Zamed. And again, thank you for the roses. ISI, roses and lightning. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, got a TikTok, got a GG. We're getting all kinds of gifts here today at 2025. Thank you so much for the gifts. They really do help every little bit out. At the end of the month when I get, I know some of these people online get checks for thousands of dollars from TikTok. Even if I just get $25, it helps keep this going. Mr. Smoothie Bun says, since we last spoke, only corn I've seen is a little peaks a couple times through the day. All right, well, work on bringing those couple peaks back. Wow, look at all of those roses from ISI. Thank you so much. 45 is awesome. Love to see the gifts coming in. Why do you need the peaks? Hey, Heather. Boom, join my team. Thank you. Why have you peaked? Why have you need to peak? Why do you need to see boobs in the middle of the day? Why do you need to see someone's ass in the middle of the day? Why do you need to see two people going at it in the middle of the day? Ask yourself, how is that helping you? How is that helping you to catch those little glances? Kyla asks, should I tell my partner if I have relapse and give them more disclosure on my addiction? They are your partner. So yes. Because the more you hold back, the more that the idea of lying by omission takes hold. Why wouldn't you tell your partner? If your partner is supposed to be the most important person in your life, if you're, and I know that the marriage vows say sickness and in health, better or worse, but you might as well practice that right now. If you're ever going to end up together forever, open communication and truthfulness is a big deal. That's why when I, decided to study a third area after porn addiction, after betrayal trauma, I chose therapeutic disclosures because communication between partners is crazy important. Ed Mart says, do I need medication to stop? I don't know. I don't know your situation, Ed Mart, so I can't say. Most people can stop without it, but about half of the people out there who have addictions, not just porn addiction, but any addiction, about half the people have a pre-existing mental health condition. Many of those pre-existing mental health conditions demand medicine. Myself, for instance, I am bipolar. I was diagnosed about 25 years ago, even before I was diagnosed or recognized that I was an addict. So I have been taking medicine for 25 years. Does that medicine help control my mood, which helps control the addictive urges? Yes. So I need medication, but I don't know if you do. What's little peaks? Well, little peaks are small, the tops of small mountains. But I think that, we're talking about looking. But I do like the, if you were pointing out that he used the wrong kind of peaks as a grammar Nazi. I love that. I haven't touched since we spoke, which feels good. Yeah, isn't it interesting? By not touching yourself, you feel good. Crazy, isn't it? Please keep tapping up those likes. ISI, again, thank you for all of those gifts. That is a ton. Appreciate that, as I appreciate the heart me, Heather. F the Y, y'all need God. Or maybe you need to move from your environment and talk to women on a deeper level. Yeah, well, I guess you've solved all the world's problems, haven't you? Yeah, y'all need God because it's an imaginary friend and not science that's going to help you here. Kyla says, when will I feel and appreciate smaller things in life in general more when I'm freshly recovering? Life feels really bleak even with my relationship. Well, keep in mind, number one, it's not going to come quickly. That's one of the things that dissuades it. That's one of the things that absolutely dissuades it. And hold on a sec here. Your brain and the chemicals in your brain are constantly in a state of evolution, trying to keep up with what you need. And if you've needed these chemicals produced by your addiction for a long time, it's going to take a while for your brain to adapt to a life without porn. So your brain is constantly going to be sending your conscious mind the message, we need this stuff, we need this stuff, we need this stuff. So it's going to bring you down at this point, because it's like saying, here is the answer for your anxiety. Here is the answer for your fear, for your problems, for your stress, for the negativity. Here are all the answers. When you've had problems in the past, you went to the porn, you went to the masturbation, you felt better after doing that. And now you don't have that. And your brain is still sending you messages. So it does feel bleak. You have a chemical storm going on in your mind right now. Just stay healthy, eat well, exercise, and keep going. Keep going. Find things that give you more pleasure. Find things that give you pleasure. And maybe it's time for you to also start doing the other part of things if you're not, and that's seeing a coach or a therapist. Start to work on the why you were using. Start to work on what happened to you when you were young. Start to work on how pornography and your fear has shaped your life to this point. That's when things are going to really start changing for you. Hello, Lucinda. Thank you for sharing the live. Glad you're here. Good to see you, my friend. Khalid YKM. Is there such thing as a healthy relationship with corn? No. No. There is no situation I have ever read about, be it in a book or an academic study, regardless of the topic, whether it's in kids, whether it's with couples, whether it's the science that happens in your body. I have never read anything that reaches the conclusion that using pornography is actually healthy for you. The best you can hope for is that it will be not unhealthy. And by that, I mean there are people who can once a month, twice a month have a beer or two, and that's it. Or people who a couple times a year can go to a casino, bet a few dollars, win or lose, and then walk away. Most people who engage in activities that have a percentage of people who end up addicted still don't end up addicted. So the best you can hope for when it comes to having a relationship with corn, the best thing you can hope for is that it doesn't hurt you. And then it becomes a question of, if that's the best case scenario, that it doesn't hurt you, but it's far more likely to hurt you than ever help you, is it still worth using? So no to the healthy relationship thing. Obviously, there are people who use out there that don't become addicts. Obviously. More people don't become addicts than do. But when you're still talking about 15% of the population being addicted to this stuff, and that number only growing, it's important we talk about it. Lucinda says he's home today. We will see if he makes moves towards recovery. Well, show him this. Let's show him that, there are other ways to heal out there, and other people who can help you. Please hold on while I take a sip of my beverage. Again, if anybody knows anybody at the Celsius plant, I want a sponsorship. Daniel says, I've been a corn addict since I was 10. I certainly understand that, Daniel. I was a porn addict at 12 years old, and I was an addict for 24 years. Anybody can get better if they want, if they're willing to take the steps, if they're willing to change their life, if they're willing to change their mindset. This is not like going on a diet. This is not like, making a plan for next week. This is a full change of life. This is a full switch in your thinking. This is a process to get to recovery, to get to full recovery. And if you want to take it, Daniel, you certainly can, and you don't need to be an addict anymore. You don't need to be an addict anymore. You just have to be willing to take the steps that are necessary to get help, and I hope you'll do that. How can I last longer while watching? That's an odd question, Colin. I don't know, and I'm not really interested in knowing. Lucinda Williams says those Celsius cans add up. Yeah, they certainly do. They certainly do. But hey, when I go to the bottle redemption place, I'm always seeing the upside of my caffeine use. Cindy Powell 8, 6 months sober today. Old Ohio hippie chic. 6 months sober, Cindy. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm wearing my old, I guess this is not hippie chic. This is like 70s chic. But Cindy, that's freaking awesome. 6 months is awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. I mean, I know what a warrior you are and what it takes to get there. That is awesome. You are strong. You are strong. Khalid says it is easier to get out of porn addiction in a relationship or without a relationship. I don't know. It depends on who you are. Can you use your partner's a future with your partner? Can you use maybe your partner's distaste for pornography as motivation? Will that, force you to get better faster? I think it was far easier for me to get out of this because I was married and had incentive to get out of it. I didn't want to end up divorced. So being in a relationship helped me. But if you're not in a relationship, that's going to cause a lot less problems with other people. So I think it really depends who you are on there, Khalid. Daniel says, yeah, after my wife left me, my porn addiction definitely ticked up a bit. And that's not because you weren't getting laid. That's because it's a radical change of life. And you learned going back to 10 years old that when I use this stuff, I feel better. When you were 10, you didn't recognize the science happening in your brain. You just probably assumed, and rightfully so, you liked looking at depictions of sex. But now that you're older, you can understand it. Having a wife leave you is going to cause heartache, even if you had a horrible, horrible marriage, somebody leaving your life is a big deal. Someone leaving your life is a big deal. And I could see why there'd be an uptick there. But I hope that bless me. I hope that in understanding that there's been an uptick, that you're able to take things in a different direction. Because, hey, your wife leaving you is a great opportunity to make new friends. It's a great opportunity to get new routines, to get new habits. You can be a healthier version of yourself without her. Bo Lambeth, it's all over the screen. It is, but it's also a choice whether to look at it or not. It's also a choice whether to look at it or not. Tiny, how are you? I'm doing very well. It's nice to see you. I hope things are going okay with you. I hope your situation at home is improving. RG3, struggling so far, Josh? We will get through it. Absolutely, RG3. Absolutely. Corn is my crutch to help anxieties. Of course it is, Daniel. Because when you were 10 years old, you didn't know how to deal with anxiety. When you were 10 years old, you didn't know how to deal with stress. You didn't know how to deal with many of your problems. But then you find this stuff which makes you feel good. And like I said, at first you tend to think it's the content itself that makes you feel good, but it's actually the chemicals that are produced while you use that make you feel good. And most coaches, most therapists, and I absolutely agree with this, both as someone who went through recovery and somebody who helps people go through recovery on a daily basis, that you basically stop developing those skills when you become an addict. When you're 11 years old, why do you need to have anxiety management skills? Why do you need to have problem solving skills if you can always run to the pornography? Makes life easier. Well, when you're 16, maybe you have a different reason to run to the pornography, but you still do. When you're 21, you have a different reason to run to pornography, but you still do, because it is your salve. It allows you escape. It allows you to feel power. It allows you to get away from the anxiety. It lets you have control in your life. All of these things, contribute. RG3 says, just need to suppress boredom. That's when I feel as though I'll break. I understand that. I understand that a lot, RG3. So why don't you right now, why don't you sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and write down 10 things that you could do aside from using? That way, when you're bored and you can't think of something else to do, you've got a list of 10 things. Because there is no excuse for boredom. There is no excuse for boredom. I would challenge you, RG3, when you say that you use because you're bored, is it really that you want to use, but you don't want to admit, hey, I want to go look at this stuff. Hey, I want to go masturbate. Hey, I'm going to engage in my addiction. Or is it easier to say, I'm bored. I've got nothing to do. I'd like to do something, but there's nothing to do. If I had something to do, I wouldn't use porn, but since I'm bored, the only thing I can do is use porn. Well, we know that's not true. Why don't you go to a movie? Why don't you go to a diner? Why don't you call your mom? Why don't you write a screenplay? Why don't you mow the lawn? Paint the house. Learn how to play the harmonica. Draw a picture. Volunteer at a homeless shelter. There is no reason you should ever be bored in this world. There's too much to do. So I'll tell you what I think you're doing. I think what you're doing is you want to use porn, but when you're able to tell yourself you're bored first, that takes some of the responsibility off. You don't have to admit the cold, hard truth to yourself that you want to use porn. This is the same with people who say, I don't want to use porn, but I get triggered by social media. You know you're going to get triggered by social media. That's probably what you're looking for because, again, it takes responsibility off your shoulders. I wasn't planning on using porn. Or were you? And this is just a way to get there without feeling as bad than saying, I want to use porn right now. It's like alcoholism. Well, Daniel, I was also an alcoholic. I was a porn addict for 24 years. I was an alcoholic for 22. It serves many, for me at least, it served many of the same demons. There were a few different ones between the two things, but yeah, if I was in public, I could choose alcoholism. If I was by myself, I could choose porn addiction. Thank you for the flowers, Matawi. Thank you for the flowers. I hope that I am saying Matawi correct, but I want to thank you for those flowers. I appreciate it. For those of you who are new here, please allow me to introduce myself for just a moment. My name is Josh. I was a porn addict 24 years, alcoholic 22 years. I have been clean and sober now for 11 years. I've written 4 books about this stuff, both porn addiction and betrayal trauma, and given hundreds of interviews. For the last 5 years, I've been a full-time coach, helping people with porn addiction, helping their partners with betrayal trauma, and then helping relationships as a therapeutic disclosure specialist. If you feel like you might benefit from some one-on-one time with me, or if your partner might, or if your relationship would, visit the front page of my profile, click on the links. You will see one link that says Calendly. That will teach you, that will show you how you can book with me. Thank you for the first gift, RG. That is an honor that you provided me with your first gift. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Khalid asks, is cold turkey a good way to quit? If it works for you, yeah, absolutely. That's how I quit. But I can tell you that far more of my clients and far more people I have seen in life quit by tapering down, quit by slowly moving it lower. I mean, yeah, technically at the end, using once a week still becomes zero. That is cold turkey, but it's a lot easier than people who use every day going cold turkey, because that often doesn't work for them. That is just too much of an ask. Cool. Thank you for the corn, and thank you, Matawi. Thank you for the flowers, RG. It is absolutely about the best way for you to quit. I usually tell people, try cold turkey, see if it works. And if it doesn't, then you may need an actual strategy for going down. If so, when did that vanish? When did what vanish? Matawi, more corn. You're awesome, dude. Thank you. Over 20, 30. Wow. We're going higher. My God, look at that. Daniel says, I need healthier coping mechanisms. I do understand that. But are you going to get healthier coping mechanisms if you don't flush this pornography out of your mind? First, you have to stop using. You have to stop looking, you have to stop touching, and then you have to do the even harder work to understand how you got there while developing these coping mechanisms, while developing these strategies to deal with life on life's terms. Because right now, addiction is really just kind of a cheat. It's a hack code. It allows you to feel good, but unfortunately, there's a hell of a lot of brain damage going on right there. If you watch the video that I just posted before this live, it's a great scientific look about how dopamine affects this issue and how the role it plays. Colin asks, how do I stop going to the bathroom during school to choke the chicken? Well, you probably have to deal with why you want to go do it. You have to deal with the reasons that you're doing this. You have to find distractions, other ways of handling things. Because here's the thing, if you go and you get caught, that's going to stick with you for quite some time. That's going to be something people remember. That's going to cause an adverse reaction in your life. Bo says, can I do it once a week if I can't control my emotions? You can do whatever you want, Bo. I'm not the boss of you. But what I would say is that why can't you control your emotions? That's a bigger question than can I do it once a week? You can do whatever you want, but why can't you control your emotions? That's what I'm more concerned about. I will get to everybody's comments. I know I'll just take some time. I'd rather take some time and give a real answer than just swing through them. Please click up those likes. Please share. Please follow me if you aren't already. Daniel, thank you for following me. Can I have your noodle soup? What a fascinating name to choose. Should I leave my boyfriend if I catch him watching it again after I've told him I don't like it twice? I would say you're absolutely free to. I would say that whether he's an addict or not, you've asked him not to do something twice and he's still doing it. Is this going to be a common thing in your relationship where you ask him not to do something because it hurts you or it hurts your feelings or you just find it gross or whatever it is? You've told him you don't like it twice. If you told him you didn't like Skittles twice and you didn't want him eating Skittles, would he stop that? It's one of these things where you have to pay attention to your partner. If he cares more about watching porn than making you happy, what does that say? What does that say? He's choosing porn over you. Do you want to be with somebody who makes that choice? Because you're in for a bumpy ride if the answer is yes. Again, thank you for following me, Daniel. Tiny says, it's going okay, going through the betrayal day by day. Still don't fully trust my husband, even after 3 years. I understand. And, I'm here if I can help you at all. Just remember that the odds are that he's trying to do his best. The odds are that he was sick. If you're still there, you must be seeing something as far as recovery. And if you just need that little push toward your full recovery, maybe I can help. Maybe I can help. I would love to help you. You've been such a wonderful regular here. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. Hey, Jat Life, glad you're here. Josh, if I was to book a time to have a session with you, are the times relative to UK times or yours? Well, RG, what I've actually done is I have a wide enough swath of time that I should be able to see you. I have sessions. I live on the East Coast of the U.S. I have sessions 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night, my time. So basically that means I start at 2 p.m. your time. Most days, my early morning or my early clients are all Europe, are all UK, Belgium. Had somebody from Belarus for the first time the other day. If you want to book with me, you can book anytime your day from, I guess that would be 2 p.m. to 3 a.m. So when you go and book, you will book according to your time. And then when I'm informed, it tells me based on my time. It's a great little system there. If you don't mind seeing me sometime between 2 p.m. and midnight your time, then we can absolutely do this. I have those hours spread out so I can see people all over the world. And I actually currently see people in 8 different time zones across the world. Can this guy stop yapping in Amir's? Oh, you made a mistake, Colin. You meant to say answer. No, Colin, I'm going to do it my way. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Matawi, I'm so proud of my size, and I feel like it's an excuse to watch. Have you heard of this before? That's interesting. I have not heard of this before. If you are proud of your size, why aren't you just going and sharing it with the ladies? I mean, big penis, small penis, curved penis, straight penis, don't they all just kind of do the same thing when you're watching porn? What do you mean by proud? Are you like, you look down and enjoy how big you are when you're using? That's interesting. I mean, assuming that you're not just saying something to get a reaction. No, I'm interested in this. What is it? What are you proud about? Did you really control it? Isn't that more just DNA? It's not like getting good grades. It's not like getting a good job. You just, it's like saying you're proud you're tall, or you're proud you're short. You're proud you're black. You're proud you're white. You're proud you're straight. You're proud you're gay. A lot of these things you couldn't control, could you? Sam Hyung says, hi, Daddy. I'm not your father, but I can be your friend. Bear, thank you for following me. And little emoji face, thank you for following me. Thank you for all those gifts again, RG and Mataway. Kyla says, I meant the vanishing of weird, intrusive thoughts sexually. When did they go away from you? Well, weird, intrusive thoughts probably took about 1.5 to 2 years because they were so ingrained in me. And you can say 2 years seems like a long time, but I was an addict for 24 years. That's literally 1/12 the time. I don't think it's that long in comparison. And we also have to keep in mind that we are not trying to extinguish your heterosexuality with this. it is still normal to be attracted to people. It is still normal to find, people who, you think look good. That is normal in life. That is absolutely normal. So if you're walking down the street and you think, oh my God, those are two awesome looking women, that's not, an intrusive thought. That is your body just quickly reacting. Now, your intrusive thought would be, oh, I want to turn around and watch them walk the other way. Oh my God, look at those ladies. Look at their asses. What I would do to them. Those are intrusive thoughts. What you can do is control them by not dwelling on them, by moving on. I see two beautiful women walk by me. Yeah, like anybody else, I'm going to say, oh, they're good looking. And then 5 minutes later, I probably won't even remember they were there. I probably can't even describe them because I don't let my mind stick with them. Ethan says the situation with dopamine and brain chemicals scares me a lot. I understand that. We don't understand how the brain works very well. I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson has a great quote where he says, and if it's not him, I apologize, but he says, we understand more about outer space than we understand about the human brain. And that makes sense because we haven't studied it, especially on the mental health side of things, especially on the addiction side, how the chemicals impact our behaviors. We're still in the early years of studying that. Like I said, I don't know if you were here, Ethan, but I just posted a video before I started this live that talks a lot about the dopamine and science part of it. And I hope you'll check that out because, people need to understand what's happening inside of them. And it's important for people who are addicts or people who are around porn addicts to understand it's not about a quest for body parts. It's not about a quest for watching sex. It's a quest for relief. It's a quest for those chemicals. That's what we're all into. Tyane says, thank you. Nobody deserved this. It's messed up, both the betrayed and the addict. Absolutely. Everybody gets messed up around addiction, and it doesn't matter the addiction. You can't be around somebody who is that unhealthy and not have some effects yourself. I hope that the improvement is steady and forward. Metaway says, when I look down and see my huge wood, it's bigger than one in the video, and I love it. Okay, but what about real partners? What if it hurts them? What if they don't like it? Are you going to have a really high quality life sitting there just going at yourself? Who cares if you got a big dick if you're alone? Who cares if you got a big dick if you're not happy? I mean, really, who cares that you have a big dick? You didn't achieve anything. You were born with it. Congratulations. You're one of the lucky ones. But my God, go have a real life like all the short penis people are doing. Gene Strawbean. I like that. It kind of rhymes. How do you feel about TV shows and movies that normalize it, make jokes, say all guys do it? How do I feel about them? I feel that we have been using sex as a way to sell products for a long time. We have been using sex as a way to laugh for a long time. We've been using sex as a way to manipulate people for a long time. I think that we need to be stronger as people. I don't think that, I don't know, because I haven't read any studies about if it truly has any effect on normalizing it. Does everybody said, satanic messages in rock music in the 70s were going to turn the next generation into a bunch of raving lunatics. And then all the violence in video games in the 80s was going to make us all bloodthirsty. And I don't think it did. So I don't know if all this sex on television is really having the negative effect that we assume it is. And I think it's education on parents' part. It's education on the school's part. If people didn't watch these shows, if people didn't laugh at this stuff, it wouldn't be out there. Because, like everything else, it comes down to money. It comes down to money, and these jokes make money. Um, Joseph, glad you're here. 8 days, Queen. Well, thank you, my love. My court jester. I appreciate that. Glad to know you're 8 days, though. That's fantastic. That's your longest streak in a while, man. That is great. I hope you're recognizing why. I hope you're recognizing how. I hope you're realizing that this is going to take some work. But I hope you're getting there. I hope you're getting there. And 8 days is awesome. But we're going to have to talk about you calling me queen. Um, Narsverage. That must be, is that Swedish? Is that Danish? I am clean for entire 2025. Did it once on New Year's Eve. Okay. Well, it's not like we're into March or April. It's only been a few days, but a few days is a great start. And a few days is what everybody who quits in the long term starts with. I'm up over 3,900 days. I had a day one. I'm up over 3,900 days. I had a day two. The only way you get to where I was is by having a day one, where I am. You have a day one, you have a day two, you have a day three. Colin, I didn't see your latest question. I'm guessing you used a word that TikTok doesn't allow. So please try to reframe your question because it didn't come through. Correct, Sweden. Yes, I am awesome. That comes from watching so much Eurovision that I'm really good at picking where people are in the world. And I've just done a lot of traveling. But yeah, go ahead and reframe that question, Colin, and I'll try to answer for you. God, it's cold in here today. Usually it's way too hot in here. I'm just going to call you Nars. I hope you don't mind. I have urges. Half of me wants to quit for the whole year. Half of me wants to do it like once a week. Well, I would say that all of you wants to do it once a week. I would say all of you probably wants to do it more than once a week. And that's okay. You should admit that, but why do you want to quit? Why must you quit? What is going to keep you quitting on January 10th? What is going to keep you quitting February 1st, May 1st? What is your motivation for quitting? Is that motivation strong enough to keep you away from it when you're getting urges? Is that motivation going to be enough on those tough nights where things aren't going well, where you just want to escape, where you just want to feel good? Think about that. Do you truly want to quit? If you don't truly want to quit, you're going to have to get there. And I believe you do want to quit. You'd like to quit. It's a good idea to quit. But why must you quit? What is pornography going to take away from you? What can it ruin in your life you'll never get back? What is going to happen to your life in 5 or 10 years if you're still using porn? Are you afraid of losing a partner? Are you afraid of never getting a partner? Maybe you're afraid of your health, mental or physical. Maybe you're afraid of being found out at work or being found out at school. You have to find your must. You have to find your must for quitting. And that has to be stronger than your urge towards porn. That's where you start, is with the motivation. Because if you don't know why you're doing it, if it's not a stronger force than the force of pornography, you're going to have a tough time. It's going to be an uphill battle. And find somebody to help you. Therapist, coach, 12-step group, whatever it is, you're going to need support from people. Tiny, when Sweden is the correct translate, I'm from Sweden too. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. I assumed you were from Thailand. Nars says, if it's not strong enough, does that mean I am not ready to quit then? No, it means that you may have a more difficult time. It means that when you get that urge, when you are, it's you see something that triggers you, you have something happen that triggers you, and your body and your mind is screaming for those chemicals to make you feel better. What is going to make you look at the porn, look at the chemicals, look at the addiction and say, no way, I'm going to stay clean even though it's more difficult for me right now? That's what I'm saying. Kwesi, is it okay that my feelings are stirring while watching this stream? I suppose anything could be triggering. If this is triggering, I would say you probably should walk away from this stream. And do something more healthy for you. It already fucked up my view toward women. It does that for a lot of our young men. A statistic that's actually pretty darn scary is that there was a college that did a report on pornography. One of the questions they asked college-age women is, have you ever been in a consensual sexual experience where your partner got too aggressive to the point that you had to tell them to stop? And 40% of college-age women said yes. In a consensual situation, they had to tell the guy to stop. So porn is absolutely messing up people's minds, messing up how they view sexuality, messing up how they view whoever it is they're interested in sexually. So it's a good thing you recognize that, Nars. It's a good thing you recognize that. Now it's time to change that. Now it's time to change that view towards women. I had to do that as well. I had to do that as well. What was your must? My must was that I had just been fired from my job. Ironically, I owned 1/3 of that company, but my silent partners, the two out of the other two, they saw that I was taking the company and they fired me. About 2 days later, I had an intervention from my family and friends. Most of it was about the alcohol because that was far more obvious, but I recognized that I was probably within weeks, maybe within days, of my wife filing for divorce. If my wife filed for divorce, my life was blown up. And blowing up my life, not being able to live with my kids, not being able to be married, blowing up that life so I could continue to be a porn addict, so I could continue to be an alcoholic, just didn't make sense for me. Just didn't make sense for me. So my must was keeping my family together, keeping my lifestyle together, recognizing that I wasn't getting anything out of the porn or the alcohol that was more important than my family. PIED is a real thing, believe me. I believe you, Tiny. I believe you. From Thailand, born and raised, moved to Sweden in the mid-90s. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's a fun move. Or maybe it wasn't for you, but I'm always impressed with people who I've done a lot of world traveling, and I live about 1.5 miles from where I grew up. So I've always wanted to live someplace very unique. I did live in Tokyo once for 6 months, but yeah, pretty here. I have a lazy eye too. Well, I guess watch your porn with the other eye. Permission to bash to this stream. You don't need my permission. But, Kwesi, we don't talk about how much we like porn. We don't talk about how much we want to bang certain people. So you are going to be let out of the room. And let that know for anybody else. Thank you for following me, George Sladke. Thank you for following me. Nars says, do you think some people can live a balanced life with porn included in moderation, or is it bad? Statistics show that far more people are not porn addicts than are porn addicts. In men, it's 12 to 20%. In women, it's like 8 to 15%. So far fewer people are addicts than just users. But when you think about the population of the world, when you think about the population of the country, 10%, 15% are still huge numbers. I think that there are a lot of people who can look at porn 3, 4 times a year, maybe once a month, and have no ill effects, just like someone can have a beer now and then. Someone can play video games now and then and not develop an addiction. Um, but it certainly isn't healthy for you. It certainly isn't healthy for you. Teresa says, my husband quit because he didn't want to lose his family, and our grown boys kept him accountable. That's interesting. My kids were much younger when I got better, but okay. I don't know why you decided that acting like this was important, Colin, because now you'll never be back in this room again. Um, I just ban people. Yeah, I'm not going to deal with it. Um, I'm glad he found his reason. I'm glad he found his reason. Um, because ultimately, porn isn't more important than your family. Porn isn't more important than your health. It's just not. I could have chosen my addictions. I could have said, screw my family, screw my friends. I want to drink. I want to look at porn. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to live the life I want. Goodbye, all you people. But I got to tell you, I don't think I would have ended up with a new wife and a new happy life. I think I would have descended even further. In all truth, I had already at the very end of my addictive time, I already had started asking people if they knew where I could find speed and amphetamines, because I was only sleeping about 3 hours a night, and I could feel my body deteriorating. Honestly, it's been 11 years since I entered recovery. I don't think I would be alive at this point had I not. That's how serious it was. Sticks, hey, how you doing? I'm doing well. I hope you are too. I hope you are too, my friend. Keep God First says, what causes corn addiction? What causes it is that, basically is that when you're young, and this is 99% of the time, when you're young, something happens that causes you trauma. And you don't know how to deal with that trauma because you don't have the skills. Right around that time, you discover pornography. And you recognize pornography makes you feel good. Pornography takes the pain away. You don't know it's temporarily, but it does. So you start recognizing, I can use this stuff to feel better. What you don't recognize is that it's starting, what you feel better about is that your brain is releasing dopamine and serotonin and the other chemicals. You just think you're getting off by watching the naked people do their naked stuff, but that's not the case. With addiction. So ultimately, the ultimate answer is that an inability to process trauma is what causes porn addiction. 3 days, temptations are growing, man. Well, find something else to do. Find somebody to talk to about it. What are the temptations? Why are they happening? Are you changing your routine? People say they watch porn when they're lonely. Yeah, some people do, because, you're in control of people when you're watching porn. You're not lonely. You're deciding who you want to watch, what you want them to do. It's a lot of power. You want 2 white girls going at it? Boom. You want 3 black girls dressed as cheerleaders? Boom. You want to watch 3 guys and 1 girl? There you go. You can control people. And if you're a lonely person who feels like they have no control, who feels like they have no power, part of the dopamine, part of the serotonin, part of all of this chemical cocktail you get is that you don't feel so alone during it. First time, that's when it began. Same with me, Daniel. 12 years old, I mean, I'd seen naked people before, but at 12 years old, my older cousin put me in front of a couple Penthouse magazines, and boom, there it started. Uh, this addiction is probably the hardest to beat. I think whatever addiction you have is. When I was in rehab, there were a bunch of people who were debating that. And I remember someone was like, well, I had, a much harder drug addiction than you. You were only alcohol. But it's, yeah, but when I go to the grocery store, there's an aisle full of my drug. When I go out to dinner, they give you a separate menu for my drug, which was alcohol. So you think it's my drug is legal, so it's everywhere. You think that makes it easier? You think that makes it harder? I mean, I don't know what's gained by that argument. I will, however, say I think this addiction is harder on partners than any other addiction. Porn addiction, intercourse addiction, I think those are harder on the partners. My husband came across dirty magazines at age 8 in the 70s, and it grew from there. Yeah, I mean, I was the 80s, but yeah, I mean, while it was, super hardcore when I got myself a Penthouse or a Hustler, most of the time I had Playboy magazine. And the images in Playboy, especially in the 70s and 80s, were not nearly as graphic as the images kids are pulling up on porn sites now. That is something that needs to be addressed. Those of us who are older, who are, "Oh, everybody gets into porn, it's not that big a deal." Well, the stuff that kids are watching these days versus the stuff that, I got addicted to, your husband got addicted to, that Daniel got addicted to. These are all things that are not the level they are today. So you can only wonder what's going to happen long term with these kids who are getting hooked on explicit sexual material, not just nude models. Daniel says, my mother was an alcoholic. Then around 1995, we got AOL and internet. I saw lady parts for the first time. That's when it began. I actually got on AOL in 93. I was one of the first people on it, and I learned pretty fast how to get porn through the internet. Of course, we're talking about a 9600 BPS modem, so you'd have to wait 5 minutes for one photo to download. If not, you certainly weren't downloading videos at that point. But yeah, internet was how it began, and even more so, high-speed internet is when this absolute epidemic started. Is when suddenly everybody could easily access pornography in the privacy of their own home in real time. When you can watch streaming sex and anybody can get access to it, that's when the explosion happens. Keep God First says, it's sad you can find any video you want. Okay. I guess so. I guess it's sad, but again, that's selling a product. Sex has always been used to sell. You can find any video you want, but you can also decide not to. It's like you can find any movie in any genre you want: action, fantasy, comedy, drama, sci-fi. Kind of just different genres. But you have the control to not watch if you don't want to. Innocence says, my partner doesn't seem to remember or know why he did what he did. Well, if he doesn't remember, then he needs to talk to somebody like myself who is trained in helping to bring trauma to the surface. A lot of us, our bodies, as I mentioned, our brains protect us. And sometimes our brains help us conveniently forget the things that harmed us so we can continue forward. But those things unresolved stay in there. Those things unresolved influence exactly every decision we make, exactly how we live our lives. So he probably just needs to talk to somebody like me who is well versed in finding the trauma. And I can also say, in a sense, that I didn't remember or know where my trauma is when I started. Let me just get comfy here. I didn't remember. I didn't know where my trauma was. My main trauma took about 4 sessions to really get into, to really understand. My secondary trauma took about 6 months to surface. But that's a very important step in recovery, is figuring out the why. Why did I become this way? Why did I make these choices? And it's not why am I gross? Why am I a pervert? Why it's what happened to you. You reacted negatively to something happening to you. That's all. Is corn rehab a good idea for some people? Absolutely. If you can go, if you can afford it, if you can take the time off, absolutely. Living in a structured environment is never a bad thing when you're trying to come off of an addiction. X Dwyer, I deleted everything, found God, started reading the Bible, which made me want to stop. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I hope you are still doing the deeper work of why you became an addict, but I think that's fantastic that you had this revelation. I gotta figure out why I'm coughing or sneezing so much. Keep God First says, also, it's behind closed doors. No one will know you're addicted. That's the thing. When I was an alcoholic, I couldn't hide that. Everybody knew I was an alcoholic. You slur, you walk funny, you talk funny, you smell like booze. You can't hide being an alcoholic. It's pretty darn easy to hide being a porn addict. Spencer says, my partner and I occasionally watch together. If nobody's forcing the other one, if nobody's crossing any boundaries, if it is completely mutual, all right, you're both adults. The one thing I will say, Spencer, is that statistically, people who watch married couples who watch pornography together do end up getting divorced twice as much as those who don't. That's just a stat out there. In divorce proceedings now, I saw an article talking to divorce lawyers, and several of them said that pornography pops up in around half of their cases now. So just something to think about. Is this the healthiest thing you can be doing? And if it's not causing any problems, if everybody's consensual, if it's, nobody's getting addicted, nobody's, it's not affecting your sex life or your intimate life in a negative way, then, you have to make the decision what's best for you. I'm not sure where to search. Like others, it happened so long ago that I'm not even sure why I was doing those things. Well, Dwyer, that's why I took the courses to be a trauma practitioner. Because when you're at the center of the storm, when you are the author writing your story, it is sometimes hard to be objective. It is sometimes hard to go back in time. It is sometimes hard to recognize what things were. And that's why people like me exist. That's why people like me exist. And if I can help you in any way, if you are interested in booking a session with me, just go to the front page of my profile, look at the links up at the top. One of them says Calendly. Click on that, and we can start talking about what happened. Let's figure this out. There's usually, it's only a few main reasons, and then each of those main reasons has plenty of other little reasons coming off of it, but it is something that can be figured out. Keep God First says, I started when I was 12, quit at 17. That's 5 years is not that much. That's great. I hope you continue along that way. Gene Strawbean says, how does it stem from trauma? Is it not from just being young and curious about sex? No. And people may continue to use at that point, and that may be why people start. It's like, oh, look, here's a magazine. But you've got to look at this as why people continue to use it. It's not that the people who are porn addicts that are 20 or 30 or 40 like naked people more than the rest. It's not that they like watching sex more than the rest. It's that watching pornography causes a chemical reaction in their brain that releases dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. These chemicals are known as the pleasure chemicals. They help you feel better. They help you deal with life. So what happens is usually that some kind of incident happens when a child is young and they don't have the problem-solving skills or the coping skills to deal with it. But they have been using pornography and they learn that pornography makes them feel good. At this point, it still is, they are still thinking it's the naked people doing it. But what it's actually doing is they are using this to the point that their brain starts secreting those chemicals. And they keep using, so the brain keeps doing that. And instead of developing proper coping skills, they continue with the pornography because that's their skill, that's their coping method. Instead of developing the proper skills, let's say you become a porn addict at 12 like I did. Well, I didn't have the proper coping skills of a 15-year-old, and then an 18-year-old, and then a 21-year-old. When I quit porn in my mid-30s, I had the coping skills and the problem-solving skills of a 12-year-old boy because I never needed to develop them because I always had my porn and also my alcohol. It becomes your problem-solving technique. It has nothing to do with sex. It really has nothing to do with sex. Most people use because of sex. Most people use because it's a surrogate for sexual activity. Most people are horny and just looking to get off, but they don't use for the reasons that the addict uses. And they use far less than an addict uses. But that's a great question. Thank you, Gene. Candace Rivera, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate that. Keep God First says, I heard friends talking about it, then I searched it up. That's probably about half of my clients. That's the story. My friends told me about it. That's how I started. Yeah, you hear about it at school, and I can't tell you how many guys were like, I was 12 years old, I went home and I just typed the word boobs into Google, and there it began. I found it at age 10. I'm now 23. It's been a constant issue. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you do something about this user. Because at 23, you can still have a huge, awesome life. I didn't get clean till 37. Think about that. Another 14 years of doing this for you to get to where I was. But if you take care of this now, you can have a professional life, a personal life, a family life, a sex life. Your life can be without this. You can live a great life much earlier on than I did if you take care of it. Take care of this while you're young. Why do you think I spend so much time on TikTok? Because I want the 18 to 35 crowd to hear my story. I want them to know they can get cleaner quicker and have a better life. Dwyer says, I was 9. I'm almost 25 now. Well, that's 16 years. Waited too long to stop, paired with unrestricted access to the internet. I found you a few months ago and started well, but then said, I'll try again later. Well, is it later yet? Are you serious about stopping? Or do you just like the idea that you want to stop and that's enough for you to feel better? Yeah, some people, that's all they need is to say, well, I'd like to stop, and then they can go another 10 years till they get to a different level. It's really, really about you. User 3986, create a name. Today is day one again. It needs to stop. I've said this in this live chat many times in the last year. So, what are you doing to make it different? What are you doing different? If you do the same thing over and over, you get the same results over and over. And if you're doing something that people in here have said helped them, maybe it just doesn't help you. There are a lot of different ways to heal. Hey, Brian, I found magazines in the creek when I was in second grade. Remember vividly being very confused. Yeah, and I get that story. Me and my friends found magazines, or I found magazines. Like, I was never that lucky to just find them. I would have loved that when I was a kid. I mean, I know how unhealthy it is, but man, that would have been, a sweet day for me. Um, How's your finger? I think you had an injury when I was in the live chat a few weeks ago. Yeah, it's almost healed. Maybe I can move that. My two fingers are almost healed. The new nail is coming in. But yeah, I for those of you who don't know, I actually crushed two of my fingers in my garage door. Got them caught between two panels in my garage door. The fire engine and the ambulance had to come. I broke the tips of these two fingers. They turned black. It was pretty freaking gross. But yeah, thank you for asking. I appreciate that. I am doing a lot better. I have probably 80% of the feeling back. Which, if that's as good as it goes, then, so be it. I'll start tomorrow is the worst thing you could say. Exactly. It's like, I'm not going to use in November. No, not November. Well, start today. And you know what? If you were going to start on January 1st and you just didn't, or you couldn't, start today. Start today. I love that. Keep God first. I don't try hard enough. I stop for 3 days max, then go down the rabbit hole again. Well, that's the story that you're telling yourself. You can only go 3 days. If you can go 1 day, you can go as many days as you want. What makes that 1 day happen? What makes that second day happen? What makes that third day happen? And then what is so different about day 4, aside from you decide to use? I'll try again and hope it goes to plan. I'll really try. Yes, but if your plan isn't working, you need a new plan. You cannot be in, let's say, you cannot be in the middle of the U.S., whereas St. Louis, let's say, that's the middle of the country. You cannot drive east and expect to get to California. You cannot drive north and expect to get to Texas. You're just doing it wrong. You're not taking a route that is going to get you to your destination. You need to take a different route. I remember when my mom saw my search history, so embarrassing. Oh, God. I bet. Hopefully it wasn't anything too weird. But yeah. The first 2 weeks is always hard. People need to understand that. The first week is hard. The first month is hard. Some people say the first month is easy. It's the second month that's hard. Everybody's a little different, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay. Can someone tell me what time it is? And then if you can adapt it to East Coast, that would be great. But, if you're in California or Calcutta, we can figure it out. But my phone is on my head. 2:20. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, God. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. In a sense, it's funny. Sometimes I'll ask when there's 100 people in the room and no one will tell me. And now there's 20 people in the room, and that's it. Damn, I got a lazy eye too. What is this, the Lazy Eye Club? Why does everybody keep saying this? But, hey, I'm sorry you have a lazy eye. I'm sure you've still had a rich and wonderful life. At least I hope so. All right, 2:20. I have a bunch of sessions today. I didn't have any early ones today. No talking to my friends in Europe, I guess. But I do have a lot of sessions moving forward, so I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get some food, and then I'm going to start in with my work day. If anybody needs any help, just to go to my links and click the one that says Calendly, and you can book a session with me. If you're not following me, please do. I would ask when you see my videos pop up, please like them. Please put a comment. That always helps the algorithm. And the more people we can get to hear these messages, the more people will learn about this. This is a grassroots thing at this point. 100 years ago, there were a couple guys, Dr. Bob and Bill W., who started saying, hey, we need to talk more about alcoholism. We need to talk about this thing that's happening that nobody wants to talk about. These two guys were the founders of AA. We need to talk about this, and all of us, we are mavericks. We are groundbreakers. It is like it is 1920 when it comes to pornography addiction. We are just laying the groundwork for future generations. So if you can click up those likes, if you can throw in a comment, if you can do any of this stuff, you're ultimately helping the cause. And I appreciate all of you for being here. I appreciate all of you for being here so much. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, user 39, whatever. Thank you, Innocence. Thank you for getting me to 8K likes. That's awesome. That is really, that is a nice confidence boost. Appreciate all of you, and I will be back with another one of these. We will see you next live. I hope so. Maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. I sometimes slack on weekends a little. But we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for being here. Have yourselves a great rest